always say, I always want to let some of these beats ride out, but this isn't a music show. This is a football show. I'm back. It's Monday. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Whenever you guys are going to tune in, watch, and or listen to this content, welcome back to another episode of Monday Evening Quarterback. My name is Christian Simpson, and I am the creator. I'm the founder. I'm the NFL and college football analyst and overall football junkie of a brand called The Daily Blitz, where we specialize in everything football 24/7, 365. If you've been watching from the get go, hello, welcome back. As always, I hope you're staying safe and happy Thanksgiving. Well, it's not Thanksgiving yet, but it's the week of Thanksgiving. I hope you guys are your food. I hope you're gonna enjoy it with family and friends and your loved ones. You're gonna enjoy some football 'cause there's three pretty decent games on the slate this year. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome and thank you for finally stopping by to watch, tune in, and or listen. Have a lot to discuss on this podcast. I discussed what caught my eye in college football and the NFL the week before. I'm gonna go to the phone lines. Had a really nice convo take place, and I'm gonna talk about what caught my eye in the NFL. Then I'm gonna give a little slight preview of Monday Night Football. It's in Mexico City. Football is a global thing. Man, it's been played in the United States, it's been played in London, it's been played in Germany, and now we go south of the border to Mexico tonight. San Francisco 49ers, Arizona Cardinals, NFC West showdown. Key game for the 49ers, especially with Seattle on their bye. 49ers win, they will have sole possession of first place in the NFC West because they own the head-to-head tiebreaker over the Seattle Seahawks due to the fact that they beat them earlier in the year. But before we get into anything football-wise, I need to address something. And that's what took place in Charlottesville, Virginia, with the Virginia Cavaliers football team. Three young men were their lives were tragically taken at the hands of gunfire. Unfortunately, getting their names right now, so I say everything correctly. Lavelle Davis Jr., Devin Chandler, and Deshaun Perry all lost their lives between the ages of 21 and 22 years old. That's too young. No parent should ever have to bury a child. Virginia was scheduled to play over the weekend, but they couldn't even do it. And to be honest, I don't blame them. My sincerest condolences go out to the families of those three young men, the Tony Elliott, the Virginia football team, the University of Virginia, that community as a whole, and anybody who knew these three guys. Their lives were taken way too soon. And the crazy thing is, they all just played last week, and now they're no longer here. It just goes to show you, man, life can be gone like that in the snap of a finger. No, I'm absolutely devastated by this because there's no need for this senseless gun violence. And like I said on College Football Showdown the other day with Israel Rivera, no parent should have to bury a child, no matter how old they are. And it's just such a sad situation, and your thoughts just go out to that entire program and those who knew them, played against them, and everything. I just wanted to get that out the way, get the somber note out the room. Now, let's talk about what caught my eye this week in college football. Week 12. We're almost at the finish line. It's rivalry week, this upcoming week in college football. A lot to look forward to. As you guys know, I'm previewing that one game. I think you guys know what I'm talking about. But we'll talk about that in a few minutes. But, I want to talk about the top four in the college football playoff. Now, they all won. Georgia won by 10 points. Ohio State won by 13, and they had to struggle to put up 40. Michigan won by 2, and TCU won by a point. You get the common denominator here. Neither team ranked in the top 4 was really dominant. Georgia didn't look like themselves, but they still handled business and kept Kentucky out the end zone. Georgia has gone 8-0 against the SEC East in back-to-back seasons, something you rarely see. Kirby Smart has his team clicking at the right time. They're running the ball. They have, I think, the best duo of tight ends in the country. And Brock Bowers and Darnell Washington, they play defense. That defense is getting better and better, it seems like. Maybe not at the level of last year, but they're beginning to click and gel when it matters most. And as I said last week, they are in the SEC title game. That first Saturday in December, they will play the LSU Tigers. Ohio State. Now, really, I could lump this and Michigan's game up in one, because I remember saying on College Football Showdown, and I remember saying on the Nerd Zone last Wednesday that both games for Ohio State and Michigan, not only were they tune-ups, they were trap games as well. And one thing I always say, teams just have that tendency to overlook who's in front of them, and that's exactly what Michigan did. Michigan just, I think they took Illinois a little bit lightly and for granted. And Illinois is a young, hungry football team. Chase Brown is the real deal. Can't wait to see what he does in the near future. Illinois, they hung on. But Michigan just found what they needed late in the game, got in field goal range, escaped with a narrow 19-17 victory. The scare of the game was Blake Corum going down with a knee injury, but looks like he's going to be okay. He was riding a bike, the stationary bike on the sidelines, and that's a sign that it's a good thing, that it's not anything serious. But Michigan are 11-0 for the first time since 2006. Ohio State really struggled with Maryland. Maryland can put points up. Tua's little brother, Taluia Tagovailoa, really had himself a game. They were running the ball. Ohio State showed some vulnerabilities, but in the end, they're a veteran team. Now, I could watch Marvin Harrison Jr. play every day, stunting like his daddy, like my man Israel Rivera of the Prime, and the CEO of Prime Sports World and Network. Always says over here, Christian, you can use this as a headline, stunting like his daddy. But yeah, both teams get the win, which just sets up a collision course on Saturday, which I'm going to get into shortly. And TCU. Now, coming into this game, yes, I did have TCU winning the game, but I kind of feel Texas unveiled the blueprint on how to beat them, because you just have to put a lot of pressure on Duggan, hit him, collapse his pocket, don't let Quentin Johnston beat you, and everything else will fall into place. And I had a feeling Baylor could emulate that same type of formula that the Texas Longhorns did, because they have a defensive-minded coach in Dave Aranda. He was going to get his men ready to play, and they stuck with TCU. But those great teams just know when to hit that light switch and turn on that and turn it on when it matters most, and that's exactly what TCU did. They won their game by a score of 29-28. So I have a feeling, more than likely, it's going to be the same for tomorrow. However, I think we're going to see a new number 5 on the outside looking in, or maybe even number 6, and that's USC. Now, I previewed that game on Saturday between the UCLA Bruins and what a game. What a game. Finally got the chance to sit down and watch Caleb Williams this year. And I was impressed. You know, my one guy says that he has a little bit of Mahomes in him, and after watching him, I can see why he says that. Because when I was watching Caleb, I kind of got Mahomes vibes, just the ability to run, make those throws on the run, quick to extend plays, get those yards with his feet. Now, coming into the game, I wasn't concerned about either one of these teams' offenses. They're both explosive, but in different ways. USC, they're going to stretch the field. I think they have one of the best, if not the best, quarterback wide receiver tandem in the country in um, Caleb Williams and Jordan Addison. Mario Williams from Oklahoma came back, who I thought was a key for the game. And UCLA, they're not a physical team, but they play a smash mouth brand of football where they want to run the ball, they want to be downhill, and they have one of the best doing it. Excuse me, in Zach Charbonnet. And I just had a feeling UCLA could match USC score for score, punch for punch. Really an entertaining quarterback matchup. Caleb Williams on one side, Dorian Thompson Robinson on the other side. UCLA wins this game. They're in the Pac-12 championship, and they did indeed win this game. Now, coming into this one, I was concerned about USC's defense because they're not that great. This is Oklahoma West. Lincoln Riley. His offenses are gonna be good, but his defenses, not at all. Um, but give USC a lot of credit because they came away with timely turnovers and timely takeaways when they needed it. Even got one to seal up the game, intercepting Dorian Thompson Robinson a total of 3 times. UCLA falls in this game by a score of 48-45. Looking at the stats of this game, Caleb Williams, 32 of 43, 470 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Jordan Addison, 11 receptions, 178 yards receiving, 1 touchdown. And then on the UCLA Bruins side, Zach Charbonnet, 19 carries, 95 yards. And USC kept him out the end zone. Dorian Thompson Robinson, 23 of 38, 309 yards passing, 4 touchdowns, and those 3 interceptions. As I mentioned, USC, they will be going to the Pac-12 title game. I believe they will be playing the Oregon Ducks, who won their game on Saturday against Utah by a score of 20-17. Um, I'm going to serve myself some humble pie here because, I was unsure about USC, but they're knocking on that door right now. Close out on Saturday with a huge game in rivalry week against Notre Dame, Fighting Irish. That should be fun. Historic rivalry. And I just think of all the legends who have played for this program. Marcus Allen, USC. Troy Polamalu, USC. Reggie Bush. Matt Leinart won a Heisman. Or won a couple championships. I think he won a Heisman as well. I think of those USC teams under Pete Carroll all those years. They were always there, and we could be getting that back. Just get that defense right in South Carolina, and this is going to be a scary group on both sides of the ball. This is the most complete team in the country if they can get that defense right, because you know what you're going to get from the offense. The legends for Notre Dame, the list goes on. Joe Montana, Jerome Bettis, Tim Brown, Bryant Young, just to name a few, and all those guys, majority of those guys I listed, all own gold jackets in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So that should be a fun one to watch. Now, one thing I also want to discuss: the Tennessee Volunteers. It's kind of suffered a double whammy on Saturday. They were upset at the hands of the South Carolina Gamecocks. Spencer Rattler finally looked like a quarterback and had the game of his life. But Tennessee also lost Hendon Hooker. And, I've been raving about this kid all year. Not just me, I think everybody has. And he's been absolutely great. Not just for the Tennessee Volunteers football team, but I say college football, one of the more entertaining players in the country to watch. Has a mix, reminds me a little bit of Randall Cunningham, but I also see some Deshaun Watson in his game as well. He tore his ACL. He's done for the year. He was a Heisman candidate, and it's tough to see a kid go down like that on a non-contact injury. Football fields have to do something about this grass, or else these types of injuries are going to continuously happen. Either have all grass or turf, astroturf, one or the other, because knees are, and ligaments and knees are tearing left and right, and this isn't right for our game. Wishing a speedy recovery to Hendon Hooker. I'm really pulling for him. I really enjoyed watching him this year. Just an athlete. Guy flicks the ball, can run, can make throws from the pocket, make throws on the run. Yeah, he reminds me a lot of Deshaun Watson. Um, so I'm gonna get the game ball out the way. I just mentioned his name, Spencer Rattler, the University of South Carolina. The Gamecocks quarterback went 30 of 37, 438 yards, 6 touchdowns, and a 63-38 win over the Tennessee Volunteers. Now, I said I promised. I wrote this down, and I promised I'd do this. Let's talk about the game. Michigan Wolverines undefeated in one corner. Ohio State Buckeyes undefeated in the other corner. I think we've been waiting for this since the last matchup last November, 2 days after Thanksgiving in 2021. And Michigan finally snapped their losing streak. They punched the Ohio State Buckeyes in the mouth. They couldn't regroup. And that was the game where people, I think, became a little bit more familiar with Aiden Hutchinson. They just punched Ohio State in the mouth. They ran that football down their throat until Ohio State couldn't stop it. And they couldn't. And C.J. Stroud in that offense last year, they were just completely affected by the crowd noise at the Big House. This year, a year later, we'll be at the shoe for this one. Game day is going to be there. Fox Noon kickoff is going to be there. I'm previewing the game, of course. But when I look at Michigan, man, this is one of their more well-rounded teams that I've seen. They can make key throws when it's necessary. They run the football. I still think they have one of the best tandems in the country in Donovan Edwards and Blake Corum, who's a Heisman candidate this year. And defensively, may not be as strong with rushing the passer, but they make up for it in other areas. They can stop the run. They can make you one-dimensional. And then Ohio State, this is why they went and got Jim Knowles, the defensive coordinator, who specializes in stopping opposing teams' runs. For this game right here, this Ohio State offense, they get yards in chunks early and often. So I can't wait to see how this Michigan defense matches up with those Ohio State weapons across the board. And is Jackson Smith-Njigba going to play? He hasn't really played this year. He's been limited with injuries, and this Ohio State offense hasn't missed a single beat. That's all I'm saying about the game. You're going to have to check out my preview for it on the site. I'll promote all that at the end. But look, I gave you a little preview. I was nice enough to do that, right? I just know the magnitude of this game and how so many people are really going to be looking forward to this one. But look, how about we go to the phone lines right now? It's open, and whenever you want, take advantage and come in. I got a lounge and everything. Ryan, you're back on Monday evening quarterback. What's going on?
Pleasure to be back, Christian.
I appreciate you being on. All right, so what's on your mind football-wise?
Well, I just wanted to say that Michigan almost lost today. I was quite nervous that whole entire second half. Like, Corum goes down with that knee injury.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily, he's going to be fine.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, he plays next week against Ohio State in the biggest rivalry, in my opinion, in all of college football for many, many years in Columbus next week. But they got complacent this week,
tendency to overlook opponents. They feel because they're more of the superior team, they could just show up. Nah, you can't do that. There's no such thing as an easy football game. Anybody can be beat on any given Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday night, or Monday night. And I just saw a Michigan team that took Illinois a little too lightly. I mean, like you said, Illinois, they're a very young and hungry football team, and they're going to be back. You know, I don't think this is the last of them that we saw, but this is what happens when you overlook an opponent. And this is why I always say, whether you win, whether you lose, or whether you draw the game, that big opponent that you're looking forward to or you're looking ahead to, they're going to be on your schedule at the end of the day. Nothing's going to change unless there's a cancellation.
I agree. And let me just make a quick comparison. Chase Brown of Illinois, I saw some Barry Sanders flashes.
Wow. Oh, so you're comparing a young man to one of the GOATs. You know, one of the guys that has a gold jacket in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Okay.
He's a stud.
Okay.
And Michigan took this week for granted and nearly paid for it.
Yeah, they did. And look, I know I'm about to rip Michigan a new one in a little bit.
I know you will.
Look, the only way I know how. What else is on your mind football-wise, Ryan?
Well, you know me. I'm a big Green Bay Packers fan.
You are.
You and I have discussed this umpteen times this season. Aaron Rodgers, stubborn as hell. He should have taken less money and put some of it, not all of it, but put some of it towards an elite wide receiver. Why didn't he?
Because he's selfish. Look, I know no other way. He's extremely selfish, and this is why I can't put him in that same category as Tom Brady. Because look at Tom every year. What's he do? He takes less money, and he puts it towards the betterment of the football team, right? I'll just say this. You can pay a guy to be athletic. You can pay a guy to score. You can pay a guy to put up big numbers on a yearly basis. However, you can't pay a guy to be a leader. And Aaron Rodgers isn't a leader. Like, he's not rallying the troops. His body language, he just looks really defeated. He's not making these young wide receivers better. Although, you know, my namesake, Christian Watson, he's coming on very nicely. But the Packers have gone away from running the football, and they abandoned the run against Tennessee the other night.
Yeah, that's one thing I do not understand about this Green Bay Packers football team this year. Why have they not given the ball more to Aaron Jones? He's the best player on that football team.
Yeah, he is.
It's not even Aaron Rodgers anymore.
No, I can't disagree with you one bit. You're absolutely right. I think Aaron's just selfish, and it's still a pass-happy league. A lot of teams don't like running the football, but like I was explaining to someone literally before I got on the phone on a hotline with you, that running the football is still very beneficial in today's pass-heavy league because, one, it controls the clock. Two, it keeps whoever you're playing on the sideline, like Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers in this instance, Russell Wilson, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, can't do anything if they're on the field, right? All they can do is watch when you're running the football. Then it forces defenses to be honest. To be honest, not only be honest, it allows you to do what? Use your play action and take a shot over the top of the defense, because the defense is going to be expecting the run. You see what I'm saying?
Right, and it keeps the pressure off the quarterback.
Exactly. You've been talking to me a little too long. Ryan, you got anything else for me?
Yeah, I do.
All right, let me hear it.
One more thing. How long do you think that before Rodgers officially passes the torch to Patrick Mahomes, if he hasn't already?
I think he already has. This is Patrick Mahomes' world, and we're living in it. He's the best quarterback in the National Football League. This kid is must-see TV on a weekly basis, on a yearly basis at that. I think he's the face of the league. Now, this is his world. We're living in it. And I'll even tell you this. You know who he reminds me of? He's the closest thing I've seen to Brett Favre. They play alike, if you think about it. Think about it. That backyard style of football, that, you know, kind of like that gunslinger mentality. I think he's a little bit quicker than Brett ever was. And Patrick is a little less turnover prone. Brett was just sometimes heat the ball. last time you were on Monday Evening Quarterback, I asked you what your favorite thing was about the Daily Blitz. Remember that?
I do.
Now, I have another question for you. Let's say you had to refer the company to somebody. What would you say?
I would say that the Daily Blitz gives you 24/7 coverage of football, not only NFL, but college. And it is some of the best. So make sure you tune in not only weekly, but daily.
Man, I appreciate that. Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family and those that are very important in your life. Thank you. Man, I love doing these phone calls. They really make the show and they make my day. That can be you. You're probably watching, you're listening, you want to say, man, could I be on my name in the quarterback? Yeah, you could be on MEQ. Just let me know. We will set something up and contact me, reach out to me. Um, yeah, please. The more, the better. Um, but let's talk about the NFL. Week 11. And as always, it was extremely entertaining. Some teams struggled, some teams survived, but the common denominator is we saw another entertaining week in the NFL. There's never a dull moment in this league, right? The Philadelphia Eagles now, they lost their first game of the year last week to the Washington Commanders on Monday Night Football. And they were just bullied. They were punched in the mouth, and they have an issue. They can't stop the run, which is why, they've been struggling to stop the run, which is why they went out and they got Ndamukong Suh, because Jordan Davis was having a really big impact on this Philly defense. You saw what he did for Georgia last year. You saw what he did for the Eagles early on, and it's it's tough to see a young guy like that go down. Hopefully he can get back on the field soon, because his impact is top level. Clogs up lanes, he commands a lot of double teams, and he can get through tackles, get through lanes, and stop the run. And that's all you ask of him. Yesterday they played the Indianapolis Colts, and this was game 2 under Jeff Saturday, the Colts' new interim head coach and the former Indianapolis Colt. Just picking guys off the street, but I digress. And they were punching Philly in the mouth. But Philly, like I said at the top of the show when talking about those great college teams, the Eagles just found a way to do what? Turn it on and get it clicking when it mattered most, and that's exactly what happened. Like that touchdown run that Jalen Hurts ran to give Philly to tie the game up. Man, there was a lane so big, man, a Mack truck could have ran through that lane. Philly did escape. They get back on track by a score of 17-16. Honestly, that was Philly's worst game of the year, but they made it happen. Somehow they find a way to escape, and they win their 9th game of the season. The Buffalo Bills. Now you guys know I've been ripping them a new one the last couple of weeks, because I've been saying they're a second half team, and I feel they rely a little too much on Josh Allen. And when you do that, trouble occurs. That wasn't the case yesterday. As you guys know, the Buffalo Bills had to move their game to Detroit because of the heavy snow in Orchard Park. Now, I know some people who said the NFL was soft for moving snow, and this person was only worried for fantasy purposes, but I digress. Look, you make idiotic comments like that, I'm going to troll you. I'm not going to even hide from it. I noticed the Bills team that was balanced yesterday. Running the football with James Cook and Devin Singletary, not just depending on Josh Allen. I'm looking at these numbers right here, and well, I just had them. Let's see. Looking at these numbers right here, for once, Josh Allen wasn't the leading rusher on a team. It was Devin Singletary. Devin Singletary and James Cook each had 86 yards. Josh Allen kind of controlled things. 18 to 27, 197, one touchdown, and he was only sacked two times. Buffalo gets back in the win column by with a score of 31 to 23. Cleveland made it interesting, but Buffalo prevails. I just wanted to get that out the way. Sticking with the AFC, the Tennessee Titans, they played the Green Bay Packers to open up the week on Thursday night. And coming into the game, I did have Green Bay winning because I thought they finally found some swagger and their momentum, and everything was looking up for them. And Green Bay's defense, they overcompensated for Derrick Henry, and they forced Ryan Tannehill to beat them, and he accepted the challenge. It's actually the best I've ever seen Ryan Tannehill look, because a lot of you know I've ripped Ryan a couple of times and said, look, I can't depend on him to throw the ball a certain amount of times and keep me in the game, but if he throws the ball a set amount of times, at least under 30, the Titans are going to win football games. But here's my question. Can he have another game like that again? Inquiring minds want to know. These are questions that need answers. Look, Derrick Henry was held under 100 yards, but it was everybody else that stepped up. And that's the thing I like about this Tennessee team. That is that next man up mentality. And you can tell Mike Vrabel is from the Bill Belichick School of Hard Knocks, because he's going to take away what it is you do best. And I'm ashamed. The Green Bay Packers should be ashamed. I'm disappointed because the Packers got away from running the football. I can't even say Tennessee stopped the run. Green Bay truly abandoned the run, and it hurt them. Green Bay lost this game by a score of 27-17. Some other things I wanted to touch on. The Minnesota Vikings, since we're sticking with the theme of the NFC North here. The Minnesota Vikings won that big game last week. People were giving them the title of best team in the NFL. In the moment sports fans are. Winning that big game on the road against Buffalo. Excuse me. Look, I'm tired, y'all. But had another big game against the Dallas Cowboys. And I think Minnesota forgot that they had a game because they were just absolutely dominated. The Cowboys beat them with a ton of speed on that defensive line. Sacked Kirk Cousins a couple times. Dallas ran the football, and when they had the lead, they didn't get the lead up. Dallas kept their foot on the gas pedal. That's the best one of the year for the Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys won this game by a score of 40-3, so there was no chain. You see my chains right there? There were no chain celebrations by the Vikings. They were shut down, and they have a short window to try and get this ship rolling, because they play on Thursday night against the New England Patriots, and I want to talk about them. What a game that was, and the way it ended. Look, I'm a defensive-minded guy, so that low-scoring affair was everything that I could have wanted and asked for. It was like an early birthday present for me. And both teams were throwing punches, but the Jets' offense just couldn't get anything going. And only the Jets allow a team to win a game on a punt return. That's exactly how it ended. Patriots win by a score of 10-3, and this is a team to watch out for. They're gonna beat you in three different ways. They're gonna beat you running the football. They'll beat you in special teams, and they'll beat you with their defense. Matthew Judon, he's had quite the year for the New England Patriots, and he leads the league in sacks, and he's only gonna get better. And he should be a candidate for defensive MVP. One guy for the Patriots won it last year. He was their first. Stephon Gilmore back in 2019. But yeah, the NFC, the AFC East and the NFC East are really gonna be dogfights down this final stretch of the regular season. Can't believe December is knocking at the door. Um, and I also wanted to discuss the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, anytime the Chiefs and Chargers play, you know you're in for must see TV. Remember that game last year on the Thursday night when Travis Kelsey pretty much called game. Week 2 this year, Chargers were in control and Kansas City found a way to come back. Here's the thing with the Chargers. LA, they can't what's it called? They can't close out. Not only can they close out, but they're not mentally prepared. And you saw the difference between the two last night because the Chargers got on the board late in the game, and I just said to myself, here we go. They gave too much time to Patrick Mahomes, and what does he do? He wheels him down the field. Travis Kelsey has 3 touchdowns, and my thing is this. You know he's getting the ball, right? Especially in the red zone. Double him. God, I'm putting 2 guys on him. I remember years back, the Patriots were playing the Atlanta Falcons. This is 2013. And Tony Gonzalez was having the half of his life. I mean, he was getting anything he wanted. Matt Ryan was feeding him the ball. And then Belichick made adjustments and they said, look, you're not going to beat us. Someone else is. And everywhere Tony was, they put 2 guys on him. Like they used that bracket coverage that they used on Calvin Johnson years ago. Why can't teams do that? You know, Travis Kelsey is the best offensive weapon on this football team. And you know that too. Mahomes is looking to get the ball too when it matters most. And the Chiefs escaped by a score of 30-27. The Chiefs are the best team in the AFC. You could even make a case of the best team in the NFL. Yeah, looking at these numbers right here. Let's see. Close game as I expected. I could take this matchup so many times a year. I wish they played more than the 2 times they did. Mahomes was 20 of 34, 329 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. He was only sacked once. What did it for me was Isaiah Pacheco, the rookie for the Kansas City Chiefs. 15 carries, 107 yards. Kept the defense honest. Travis Kelsey, 6 receptions, 115 yards. Justin Watson, 3 receptions, 67 yards. Kansas City's a scarier team when they run the football. And you saw the difference on the defense when they had Frank Clark. The Chargers, they just gave up when it mattered most. They gave up time, and they gave Mahomes too much time. And that's why they have been swept in the season series against the Kansas City Chiefs. It's time to give away a game ball. Ryan Tannehill. Look, I know you're watching shit like Chris. You dog him any chance you get. And yeah, that's very much true. But he had a great game here. 22 of 27, 333 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, and a win. A 10-point victory over the Green Bay Packers. If Ryan Tannehill throws the ball that many times, they're going to be successful. He throws it 30 or more times, they're going to lose. That's just not him. I could say the same about Daniel Jones. He threw the ball 40 times yesterday. The Giants simply were taken out of their element, and they got punched in the mouth by the Detroit Lions. I'm going to see if I have any questions for Monday Evening Quarterback. Usually I get them. Let's see. No, nobody left me anything. However, kind of wanted to have a little bit of fun with Monday evening quarterback. I put on social media that with it being Thanksgiving week, I want to know who are three guys that you would invite to your turkey dinner on Thursday. Now they could be current players. Now they could be former players. Um, and Ryan Cole gave me an answer. He said Travis Kelsey, Patrick Mahomes, and Austin Eckler because they've been carrying my fantasy football team this year. That's a good reason. Three interesting guys to have at your table. With that being said, let's do a little preview of Monday night football. 49ers, Cardinals. I think San Francisco's getting hot and they're getting healthy when it matters most. This is a team that I wouldn't want to see when it's cold and the elements are brewing up because they're built to win cold weather football games. They can run the football. They have a physical offensive line. This is the most physical football team in the National Football League behind the Tennessee Titans. And the Tennessee Titans are number two behind, you guessed it, who I just said, the San Francisco 49ers. Yeah, they just have so many weapons across the board. Brandon Ayuk is their best pure wide receiver. Debo Samuel is their best playmaking wide receiver because he does so many things. When George Kittle's healthy, he makes the difference. And Christian McCaffrey's paying dividends for this the San Francisco offense. The Cardinals have been a mess. I think the Cardinals need to move on from Cliff Kingsbury because it's just not working right now. I like San Francisco to get a win in Mexico City tonight by a score of 24-14. I think Jimmy Garoppolo throws for 2 touchdown passes, one to Kittle, one to Brandon Ayuk. Debo scores one on a jet sweep, and Christian McCaffrey will also score one on the ground as well. I just think this defense is really going to get after Kyler Murray or whoever's starting for the San Francisco 49ers. Arizona, they've been a disappointment this year after making the playoffs. I've never trusted them, but, they're struggling. With that being said, man, it's time to end the show. As always, guys, thank you, and always give a couple of shout-outs. One, to my family, my amazing parents, my mom and my dad. I love you guys so much. Thank you for everything that you do for me. My beautiful sister, Taylor, who's really doing some big things in the tech world. She just announced she is launching an app for her little tech business. Go check out Womanly Tech, by the way. She's doing some incredible things, and I am one proud older brother. My other siblings, Sean, Janice, Tanisha, some of my closest friends, Josh, Deshaun, Corey, Rob Carter, Mike Griffin, Robert Butler, Jason Tyree, Kim L. Fryer, Candace Carter, my co-analyst, Cole Johnson, better known as Coach. Go check out Cole Sports. Man, I learned a lot from that guy each week. Our moderator, D, always keeping us on our toes, keeping us afloat, making sure we're staying sharp and we're up to date. Everybody I contribute for, man, I love you guys. Thank you so much for allowing me to come on and talk the game that I've loved since I was a child with you guys. How can you keep up with me? I'm glad you asked. Log on to the website, which is thedailyblitz.blog. Follow us on Twitter at dailyblitz_61. Like the Facebook fan page. Go to facebook.com, type in The Daily Blitz, and follow us on Instagram, which is at thedailyblitz_61. Become a subscriber today to the YouTube channel. Just type in The Daily Blitz, hit subscribe, and everything that I put on the YouTube channel you will get. Keep up with me on the airwaves. Mondays, like a couple minutes. I'm about to go do the prime after I'm done recording Monday Evening Quarterback. But every Monday night and Tuesday night, catch me on the prime on Prime Sports World with David Hoffman, TJ Hopkins, Israel Rivera, Matt James. Every Wednesday, catch me on the Nerd Zone with Ronnie Coon, John Danzo, Ryan Shaw, Christopher Lawrence. Every Friday, Catch me on College Football Showdown, and I have a feeling this week is gonna be a fun one with my brother Israel Rivera on Prime Sports World the Network every Saturday morning and every Sunday morning. Check out the YouTube pregame show entitled "What's on Tap," where I'm looking ahead to what's on tap of the football schedule for the day. And you can also catch me on the Sports Cubicle with Michael Angelo Mercado, Paul Shavari, Devin Tingle, Dan Marver on WCPT 820 AM in Chicago, Illinois. And if you need the link to check out any of these shows that I contribute for, let me know and I will gladly send them to you so you can check out what I have to say. It's been real, and I want to be one of the first to wish you a very happy and healthy and safe Thanksgiving. Enjoy the time with your family, your friends, your loved ones. Eat some good food, watch some good football, and I'll be talking to you soon. Um, See you guys. I'm off to go do the prime.